Hello everybody and welcome back to another Wizard 101 video. No, I know what you may be thinking. You're scared, right? You're like, no, this is new territory. Why are you in PvP? Why is PvP in the title? What's happening? You hate PvP. Like, why is any of this happening? And I know, calm down. Shh, it's okay. Basically, recently there was a controversial PvP change, as I'm sure a lot of you know, that is controversial to the point where it warrants me talking about it, because I think that it doesn't affect just PvP, but it affects the game as a whole. I think that if you think this just affects PvP, you're too close-minded. You need to take into account that this policy change is probably going to affect more things in the future, and it could potentially be really scary for the longevity of this game. So, without further ado, let's get into it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically I want to talk about the change itself. I want to talk about my opinion on it, what I think about it, all that. So if you don't know, basically, KingsIsle made it so that if you are muted at all for any length of time, you cannot participate in PvP. Now, this doesn't just go for ranked PvP. This goes for tournaments and practice PvP as well. So even practice PvP, which has no stakes whatsoever, you cannot play if you are muted. Now, I don't know about Pet Derby. Someone needs to fact check me on that, because I really want to see, can you play Pet Derby while muted? I am very curious. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, no one plays Pet Derby, so that's kind of inconsequential, but I am just very curious. Can you play it? I don't know. But basically, people are getting a little bit angry. Now, I will say, I think there is a fine line. There is a line between this being good and this being bad, and I think the problem is that it's really mixed, but there are a group of people that are harmed in this that really shouldn't be. And that group of people, if you're curious, is the people who have 10-year mutes. Now you may be like, Noah, 10-year mutes, they must have done something really bad to get that. Well, actually, no. If you didn't know, back in the day, like back when I was a youngin' playing Wizard 101, 10-year mutes were handed out like it was like a lunch tray at lunch. You could get a 10-year mute for just about anything, especially if it was a repeat offense on a mute. You could very, very easily get a 10-year mute. And the problem with that is that these people with 10-year mutes who did something like stupid as a kid, say like they said like some kind of stupid thing in chat, or they tried to say a swear in chat, say they did that when they were 8, they're being punished now for something they did 9-10 years ago. And I think that that is absolutely stupid, because personally, this is just a philosophy I live by. You shouldn't judge someone purely based on their past actions. You need to judge them based on forgiveness or what they're like now. I was a stupid kid. I'll admit that. I hate myself as a kid. And I'm sure a lot of people hate their past selves as a kid too. And that's a real issue when your past self did something stupid and now you're being punished for it. And by past self, I mean as a child, a legitimate child. And I think that it's really, really annoying and harmful to the people who have these long-ass mutes that they really shouldn't have, are being punished for it. So that's the main issue that people have with it. So now I kind of want to talk about my opinion on the situation as a whole, because obviously I just gave my opinion on like why I think it's bad. I want to just talk about overall blanket terms what this situation is. Now I will say, and for me this is the biggest thing, this change has potential. It has the potential to work. It has the potential to do what KingsIsle wants it to. I personally think that if you were like extremely toxic, if you were bullying someone, if you were racist, sexist, homophobic, anything along those lines, this change is perfect for you. You deserve it. You deserve to be punished for what you've done. And I think that this is an incredibly fair and incredibly funny fitting change for those people specifically. I really like this change in that regard. The problem is, and this is a problem I brought up in the past, a problem I'll probably bring up again in the future, Wizard 101's report system, their mute system, everything about it needs work. It needs updating. And I've said this before. I've had past videos on this. Wizard 101's current system, their current mute punishment system, is really, really bad, because you can be muted, if only temporary, just by a bunch of people spam reporting you. That is a thing that you can do. People who are blatantly bullying or are even racist don't get muted right away. And you may be thinking, like, Noah, how can KingsIsle monitor all this? It's not that hard. Games have been doing this for years. I mean years, since Wizard 101 came out. They monitor things and they punish people accordingly. It shouldn't be too hard for KingsIsle to monitor the chats, see what people are saying, and actively ban and mute the people who deserve it. I think the main issue with this entire change is just the report system. I think what it needs is, first off, I think what we could really do for some hall monitor type people, like people who are actively like genuine good people and will look out for things like that, who can hand out mutes. And obviously this, you know, you need to be very careful about this so that they have like the proper power and they don't have too much power. I think that that is incredibly fair, but even if it's just something like they point out someone who's done something wrong and then KingsIsle goes in, manually reviews those and bans or mutes those people. This would be, in my opinion, the most fair that they could make this, is to incorporate something like that. Make it human reviewed, because this is a problem that a lot of people have with literally everything, like I do too. Bots should not be reviewing what humans are doing if they can't review it properly. And that's what the problem with Wizard 101 is their bots who auto-mute people don't review it properly. On top of this, the punishments need to be much more apt and according to what people do. If someone gets a 10-year mute for saying like a stupid thing in the game that they did as a child, they should not be muted for 10 years without any form of like proper appeal. And I know some people say, you know, go message KingsIsle, get them to try to appeal it, and I think that that's fair, but does that work every time? No, because they don't have any proper system in place to review that. So that is my main issue with it. Now, what are my positive opinions on this? Because obviously I've given my negative opinions. I genuinely think that this could work. And I think that punishing people like this could be a proper way to do it. If people, as I said earlier, actually did do something that legitimately warrants like a long mute, this is fair. And I do genuinely think it's not that hard to avoid a mute in this game. I will say, in my entire life of playing Wizard 101, my entire, what is it now, like 11 years, whatever, of playing Wizard 101, I haven't been muted a single time. And I think that it's not that hard to not get muted. Now, this could just be me. It could be in regard to PvP as well, like how, you know, false reports work. But I legitimately have never gotten muted because I've never said anything that could be taken in a way to get muted, because I'm not stupid, right? If you're bullying someone, you absolutely deserve the mute. If you're toxic to someone, you also deserve a mute. And if you're saying some like stupid ass racist homophobic shit, you deserve a mute. It's as simple as that. And I don't think it's too hard to avoid a mute. What really just needs to be done is they need that proper system in place to adjust and review and actually see whether that mute is warranted. So ultimately, to wrap this video up, why am I even talking about this? Because I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I don't do PvP. Why am I talking about this? Why is this important to me? You would have to be pretty confused or pretty blind to not see how this affects the rest of the game. KingsIsle's not going to just stop at PvP. They're not going to go, okay, PvP is something you should be punished on. Like, what's next, right? Like some kind of pet training punishment, some kind of like questing punishment, or just straight up log on punishment. I think it would be really stupid to not see that this could be included and pushed to other facets of the game, and that's obviously concerning for me. PvP doesn't affect me, but the rest of the game does. And if I'm being affected by the rest of the game, I think that they should now work out the system, work out the kinks, and make it a better system. That's why I'm talking about this, because I think this system has potential. It has the potential to be perfect and a perfect way to punish people who do absolutely stupid stuff. I think that that's incredibly fair. The problem is the actual system itself, working it out so that people who have been muted for 8 years for something I said as a kid aren't punished in place of those toxic people. They need that report system to be changed and fixed. But that's it for today. Let me know what your thoughts on it are in the comments below, because I am very curious. Personally, as long as you aren't an asshole and as long as you don't do stupid stuff, you are completely fine and this doesn't affect you. And I think that that's going to be true for a lot of people. I just think that it needs work for the people that are falsely accused or falsely reported, or just simply did something a very, very long time ago that doesn't actually warrant that 10-year mute. So that's it for today. That's my opinion on it. Again, let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video. Adios.